Welcome back to the food lab here at my house. We're gonna do a little pizza demo. There's been a number of individuals asking for pizza kits that they can get their hands on and make themselves. This is a traditional Neapolitan-style pizza dough, and it's a little challenging to work with, so we wanted to get a demo out there. I'm gonna make this easy peasy. There's a couple of tricks and a couple of steps that you need to go through to make your life doable with this very wet dough. There's little specks in here that is a whole wheat ground flour. It's about 15% whole wheat flour with this dough as well. It really lends a great texture and a great mouthfeel and taste to this dough. This is gonna be the Diablo pizza that we offer at Anju. You have Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese, 1 unit of dough, a red marinara sauce, which is Roma tomatoes, a little olive oil, a little bit of salt. Very, very simple, very honest. Andouille sausage, 2 ounce, and jalapeno peppers. If you want to add more toppings to it, completely up to you. How we cook these pizzas in Anju is on a very hot stone in maybe 800-degree Fahrenheit oven. In your home oven, you're gonna want to preheat and turn this oven up as high as it'll go. My oven will go up to 550. I have it set at 500 just to accommodate most people's ovens. I suspect would go up to 500, but if it can go 550, crank it up all the way. Ideally, you want to cook this dough on a stone. That would require your preheated oven, you have your stone in your oven, and you're gonna need a pizza peel to be able to get the stretched pizza dough that's loaded with your toppings onto your stone. In that event, you're gonna want to have a little bit of cornmeal underneath your dough to help it slide off of the peel into your oven. If you don't have a stone, this is a good alternative. This is a simple 12-inch pizza pan. You can use a baking sheet tray, a cookie tray, anything flat. You can also go into something that is cast iron that's going to retain a lot of heat. Whenever that dough hits the stone, there's something called oven spring that the dough kind of pops. And that direct contact and that direct heat helps the yeast to kind of explode. And that gives your crust all of its body and texture. Aluminum deflects heat a lot. So whenever you're into your oven and you have a piece of aluminum foil covering something that you're baking, you can touch it because heat doesn't really absorb into aluminum. So we're not gonna get a whole lot of oven spring here. So it's gonna take a little bit longer to cook. So I did 15 minutes in a 500-degree oven is pretty much where you gotta go in order to get the dough cooked all the way through. I think a cast iron pan would be better than aluminum if you have that. But this is gonna do just fine. This dough is so gorgeous. It's so lively, but you can see how loose it is. It's already moving around. If it starts to stick to your fingers, you can get your fingers wet, just a little bit. And then that'll keep it from sticking. Alternately to that, you can use flour and keep your fingers dry. So I'm loosening this from around the sides. I'm gonna flour my cutting board a little bit. You can go right onto your countertop if you like. Loosen the dough from the sides a little bit, plop it out onto your counter. You wanna keep it shaped, try to keep it as round as possible, and just let it relax. If you were going onto a stone, this would be cornmeal underneath your dough right now. I'm going onto this greased olive oil pizza pan, so I'm using flour. You don't really want to punch it down much, but I want to get enough flour on my fingers that it doesn't stick to my hands. And I'm making a 1/2-inch indentation all the way around the outside. That's going to be my crust. And that's really the only thing that you're going to focus on is stretching the crust and keeping that, think of it like a steering wheel. I'm going to pick it up and I'm just going to pinch around the outside of it. If you think of that as like your steering wheel, just let gravity stretch the center of it out. But don't smash that crust down because that's characteristic of Neapolitan-style pizza. Okay, it was starting to stick to my fingers a little bit. I put it back on the bench, keeping a round shape. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is put it on the back of my hands and very gently stretch the crust just by allowing gravity to pull the center of it down, and I'm just gonna work the crust on the outside a little bit. So I get my hand underneath it, and then I'm just going to stretch this crust out a little bit, even it out. And I'm kind of letting it rest on my forearm and letting gravity do its thing. We can go a little bit more, but I want to prep this pan first. I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil for connectivity. This is going to help with the aluminum pan not getting as hot as you would like. This connectivity with the crust will help. You can use a paper towel or your fingers or a pastry brush just to make sure that you have olive oil all the way around. I get 1 F-bomb and 2 cheese on videos. If you completely f this up, say you're stretching it and you poke a hole in it, here's what you do. Put it on your bench. Here's the hole right here. Oh man, I got a hole in it. Now what do? You just flip the dough over onto itself on the sticky part and just let it hang out for a second. That's gonna read here, and then you can just pull your dough back out. That'll be okay. As it cooks in the oven, it'll kind of relax. It'll all work out. It'll be okay. Let gravity do the work. It's gonna naturally pull and stretch. If your dough's beyond repair and you don't think that it's salvageable, here's what you do. You put it back into the container. You give it a little stretch like this. Let it go to sleep for 20 minutes. All right, now time to load your pie. You can see how the crust kind of has some bubbles hanging out in it. As this goes into the oven and the yeast expands the dough, these bubbles are gonna be hollow and they're gonna get a little bit of texture and char on them. So whenever you're loading this crust onto the pizza tray, again, use the back of your hands. Just kind of let gravity help you out, but very gently. Okay, right on. Get it all the way to the outside. And we can load it and we'll fire it right into the oven. These bubbles are what you want. You can see that moving. That's a good thing. That's characteristic of this type of pizza. All right, here we go. Marinara sauce. Less is more. Neapolitan-style pizza is a lot about the dough and the crust and a little bit about the toppings. So very high quality toppings, but it's a thin, wet dough, so you can't overload it. It's not like Chicago-style deep dish. Okay, I got full coverage. I'm leaving about 3/4 of an inch for the crust, but I'm pushing this marinara sauce away from the center because as this pizza cooks and the crust swells, everything kind of gravitates towards the middle. So it'll naturally even out, but you want to load the outsides of your pizza dough towards the crust. Maybe 70 to 80% of your toppings on the outside, and that center just a sparse 30%. And you'll see as it cooks, everything kind of sinks to the middle. I go Parmesan next because this is a dry, very dry cheese, and the shredded mozzarella is a little wetter. So this is gonna kind of help the marinara sauce to stay put. Okay, getting more to the outside, outside. I like to do a little bit of this mozzarella on the bottom, onto the toppings, and I like to do a little bit on top as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4 strands on the middle, everything to the outside. So this andouille sausage, this is already pre-cooked. Just get it on your pie, you just have to heat it up. We're going into the oven to cook the dough, not the toppings. Jalapeno peppers have a tendency to be all over this scale as far as capsaicin and heat level. So the way I check how hot a jalapeno is I typically eat one. Or if you don't want to do that, just bite it a little bit, and then you can kind of gauge like the capsaicin. As soon as it touches your tongue, it's like you'll be able to tell how hot it is. Yeah, these are super mild, so I'm gonna load up a lot of them. I love jalapenos, serranos, all peppers. Chef Ken would probably not like that amount of jalapeno, but I do. I'm gonna use them all. This is a lot. I'm gonna put a little bit more mozzarella around the outside, on top of it. I like how that cheese kind of melts, but if you have your jalapeno peppers underneath all your cheese on your sauce, they're not gonna get any heat and they're not gonna cook. So you want your like raw vegetables on top, so when they're in your oven, they can have a chance to cook. I'm gonna brush a little bit of olive oil on this crust. Now you got some proofing action happen here, so just very lightly with the brush. And if you want it to be super clean, like you can make sure all your cheese is off of your crust, but I kind of like that. A little fresh cracked black on the jalapeno, a little bit of salt. You can do a little shaker parm on the outside. If this isn't spicy enough for you, you could hit it with some cayenne pepper flakes right now, but I'm ready to go into the oven. I'm gonna set a 12-minute timer. We're gonna check it in 12 minutes. This should be as close to the bottom as you can. All of your heat energy is coming from your bottom element. You want that to hit the bottom of your pan and to have a little bit more oven spring. All right, we're gonna give it a peek here and a rotate. Got oven spring happening. Just give it a little turn. We're pretty close, so I might be there in the 12-minute mark. That was a full 12 minutes, I'm saying done deal. We got good caramelization on our crust, GBD. That's an acronym for golden brown and delicious. That's what you're looking for. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, that olive oil definitely helped out as far as it sticking to the pan. We got nothing. That slides right out. All right, how to tackle this bad boy. I give it the full, I get after it like a taco. Bam, right there. Thanks for joining us. Good luck at home making your own pizza, and you're only gonna get better with practice. Thanks for all the support at Anju Above. Eat local, support local. Visit us on our website, epiphanyfarms.com. Go to the shop tab. You can buy all kinds of delicious products like this Andouille sausage is our ground pork shoulder. We have tons of pork cuts available. But most importantly, stay healthy and be happy. Thanks for watching.